Hello, Midnight Charlie Man, Patrick here. I was upstairs just now, and in fact, over the course of the last 8 to 10 minutes, I've actually been filming this in my head. And then when that happens, it's usually a very strong indication that I should just get down here as soon as possible and film it. And I filmed it in my head, and I'm like, I gotta go in the garage. And so I actually got to the foyer door, and I thought, is the hat down there? I'm fairly certain the hat is here, because I brought it to Botanic Gardens the other day and the hat's here. 48 hours ago, I was thinking back to a video that I made about personality traits back somewhere around the July of 2019, and I was thinking about it very briefly, and I thought, yeah, I butchered it. I completely butchered it. I edited it very heavily, mainly because at the time when I filmed it, I was a bit embarrassed by it. And what happened was, how do I say this? What happened was, it was about, I wasn't very comfortable in front of the camera, and it was literally, I was just trying to think of the date, because I was just checked the archives and found the date. Now I can't remember. Early July, it was early July, because I just found the 2 videos. And what happened was, it's so funny. I've filmed this in my head, and then I get down here, because I think I'm trying to think of what I said. Alright, so it was about, I did 4 pieces of filming at Goulburn, right, at Joshua Street in the living room to start my channel. About 5 pieces of filming. Then came up to Sydney before we went to Cairns. Now, it was about, this would have been approximately it was about the 7th piece of filming that I did. So it was about the 7th time I'd filmed. And what happened was I decided to get very technical about things. Oh, that's unlike me. And so it was the 7th time I'd filmed. I I wouldn't admit this at the time, but I wasn't comfortable in front of the camera yet. I didn't have enough confidence in front of the camera. I wasn't relaxed at all. And I chose as soon as I finished filming, the moment I finished filming, I said to myself, I think that was a bit much to talk about on camera at this point. Now I chose a bit of a heavy subject, one I'm not ready to speak about fluently or comfortably in front of the camera. And I did that. And what happened was personality traits. Okay, I spoke about personality traits, and I watched it back. I felt awkward about it. I felt uncomfortable about it. I was a bit embarrassed by it. And what I did was I put it into Windows Movie Maker at the time. And I think I eventually put it into Shotcut. And I butchered it. I edited it very heavily. I made it something completely different. Or a vague montage, 2-minute montage of the theme of what I was talking about. Now, it's called, I just looked these up. It's called Actually and If to Be, for some reason I titled it Actually and If to Because. One goes for 2 minutes, the other one goes for a minute. And I thought about it last night. I thought, yeah, I did that. And just now I'm upstairs. I'm just upstairs now. I'm watching a podcast on YouTube, and I randomly think of it because I'm making another video at the moment. And I randomly think about it. I'm like, oh yes, that was about the 7th time I filmed anything at all for YouTube. Oh, that's what I was going to say. It was about the 7th time it was about the 7th time I'd filmed anything for YouTube. And okay, so I wasn't breathing during it. I was not breathing at all. I was nervous. I was nervous. I wasn't breathing. I was nervous. I was nervous. I couldn't get my thoughts. I wasn't getting too many coherent thoughts. I'm not discrediting myself. It's just an observation. It's just in retrospect. But I wasn't breathing. I wasn't getting too many coherent thoughts. I was stumbling. I was very nervous. It was just like, well, and I chose a subject which I wasn't quite ready to be speaking about technical things like that on film, camera. I wasn't ready for it. And but so I'm going to put this up. So I'm actually I just watched it. I'm upstairs. I watched it back, and I thought, you know, well, apart from the fact that I was smacking my lips I might take that out. I think it could be a bit annoying if I leave that in, but I watched it back, and I thought, yeah, it's not too bad. It's actually not too bad. Well, a couple of years ago now, I thought, it's not too bad. And for what it is and for what I was trying to say, it's not too bad. And I thought maybe I'll put this up. So I'm going to put it up. So the what you're about to see next is completely unedited, totally unedited. And I'm just because I've never shown it, but I put it up. I was embarrassed about it, and I didn't want to. I thought, no, can't put this up. I approached a subject which was a bit too technical, which was I was barely comfortable in front of the camera at this point. Though at the time I would never admit it, and I would never admit it. I didn't. It took me about 12 goes of filming before I got confident, before I got any type of confidence in front of the camera. About 12 goes. It was somewhere around Cairns, or Upper Cairns, having a travel, and I think it was somewhere around the 10th time I filmed I started getting the confidence. So I think it probably took me about 20 times in front of the camera to get confidence. About 20 times in front of the camera before I had any confidence. And yeah, and so this is it. This is it now. This is the video that I chopped. I chopped it. I chopped it. I chopped it up greatly. Butchered it, edited it, chopped it, and this is it. And yes, I have been influenced by other people's. If somebody does have a very strong personality trait, I can be influenced by that, and have been influenced by that in the past. Not an unusual thing, and I have been influenced by that. Yes, but I think I think it is I think it's something to speak on. When I'm still getting used to when I was at the time still getting used to being in front of the camera. Yeah, no, because as soon as I finished recording that, I said to myself, oh, I thought that was a big one to speak about at this time, and yeah. So I'm putting it up. I'm putting it up because yeah, I'm putting it up, and yeah. I just randomly thought of it. Oh, and it was under my old moniker, because I came down here and I almost said my old moniker name. Monica, it was under my my previous name, which I no longer use and no longer associate myself with. But I'm not going to edit that out. I'm keeping it in there. And maybe this arose because I am working on a video at the moment. I did a bit of an update the other day, about 48 hours ago. I did an update, and because I've been considering and reflecting on, not reflecting on, I'm considering, I'm looking at my archive, which the archive stuff that I haven't used, and I've been looking at it, considering it, and sifting through it, because I'm making another video. And I didn't even check the light. Oh my gosh. No, this is on. You know, usually I get down here and watching that video just now, I watched, it goes for 8 minutes. I get to 6 minutes of it. I can see that I'm not even breathing through it. And I can see that I'm not even breathing. I must have brought that down here with me, because I'm like, geez, wow, I'm not even breathing. For 8 minutes I was like, wasn't even breathing. Anyway, so yes, and very good. Now I can just see white dots now. So this is the video. This is the video that I didn't put up, and I cut to pieces, and here it is, because I felt very awkward about it. And here's Midnight Charlie Man, Patrick here, and how you doing? I think I already said that. And yes, yeah, looking back at something that I did a couple of years ago. Oh, it's interesting. It can be sad, partly nostalgic, a bit painful, and I always almost like looking at old photographs and looking at old clothes. It's like it can be a bit of a heavy feel, and but here it is. Here it is. Good afternoon. I am the Grotty Poet. Welcome to my lair, my realm. Okay, today I'm doing this for the purpose of doing this today. This afternoon is for practice, to get into the rhythm of it, to keep doing it. I'm not using a script, and I'm not using notes. I want to get into the habit of not needing a script for this. Okay, so for my short films, yes, obviously for my short films, I've written some scripts. I've written quite a few of them. However, primarily for this, I don't actually want to do that. I just want to go off on the whim and get used to this. So I'm going to collect my thoughts together for what I wish to speak about today. And if I find that my concentration starts to fall, I'm going to take a moment of pause, collect my thoughts, and then return to where I was. So today, I would actually, also, the last two videos I did a video just down at Dulles Point. The wind was quite gusty. I recited a poem. However, I don't know if that went too well. And the last two videos, I was actually sitting down. I'm actually standing up this time. I wanted to see how that would be like. Quite different. So something, and actually, I was hoping not to edit this, but I may edit it. I may do that. I'm just going to fumble along. That's all I'm doing. Fumbling along, and just getting into the rhythm of doing this. Practice, 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 practice. Now, I've actually rehearsed this in my head about 3 times over the last hour. And of course, it's not turning out anything like I practiced it in my head. I have been thinking about the idea of personality traits. Well, not the idea of personality traits, but personality traits, and how throughout the years, for me, and I'm sure that maybe for many of you out there, when I come across a very big personality, a loud personality, a strong personality, other people's gestures and the way they speak, little things will really stand out to me. And if I find that if I'm around them for long enough, I spend a certain amount of time with them, if that part of their personality is so strong, I could end up taking that on if I'm spending enough time with them. I notice that I will do that. A couple of my close friends that I've known for 20 years or so, often when I'm speaking to other people, it actually depends on who I'm speaking to, because when we're around different people, we act to each different person that we speak to, we act a different way. Different parts of our personality come out. What was I going to say next? Let me just collect my thought for one moment. Just for a moment. I want to try to get this right. So, a a few of my friends who I've known for many years have very particular aspects of their personality which I have actually taken on. And so when I'm in conversation, I find that, I'm speaking like this particular friend, or this particular friend does that. And I will actually, to the point where sometimes I say, who am I? Like, am I ever really being myself? Or have I taken on so many little aspects of other people's personality that I'm just a combination of them? But no, I am myself. I definitely am myself. But those, I would like to try not to use the same description or terminology. How would I say this? Okay, I'm not really finding a word. Pausing momentarily to focus. I'm just going to use aspects. I'll just use that. That's what I'll use. So I have taken on that. But yes, most definitely being myself, but at the same time almost not plucking from, just taking from them. And that makes up that makes up a module of me, I suppose. Yes, it does. There is definitely something else that I wanted to include in this because I'm not quite finished. I'm taking pause, collect my thought, think about what I want to say, what I wish to convey. What I was actually going to say was also in regard to famous people, actors that I greatly admire, and lines that they have said in films, which are quite strong. I will soak that in. It's almost like I take some of that on, and in thought, but as well in conversing with another person. So, okay, I get the feeling I'm about to perhaps talk myself in circles here, which I don't really want to do. Now, how has this turned out? I don't know. The purpose was just to get it done, to have this practice, get into this rhythm. I got off to a bit of a jolty start, but I just practicing it, really. Practicing it. That's very important. So I will leave this subject here. Well, I'm going to, so I'm not going to talk myself in circles now. No more circles, no more circles, no more circles. And see how this went. So, if you have been listening, if you have been watching, thank you. If you have understood anything that I have just spoken about, that's terrific. It's really terrific. That way at least I know I just haven't completely rambled on about nothing for the last 5 minutes. Okay, so, good afternoon. Grotty Poet here. Talk next time. Oh, smiling. Grin. I could probably do more of that. Grotty Poet here, although I don't have to say that this time. Getting back in frame. So, a kind of a take two. When I left this before, I actually remembered a good description for what I was talking about in regard to the personality traits. I tend to adopt certain aspects of other people's. I was just looking at where I was standing. I tend to adopt, and I don't know if I'm fairly certain this is for most people. There's, I suppose, a part of us in everyone. Yes. So, before I digress, and I very easily do that. I do tell you. Came in here to make the correction, or not the correction, the add-on. Adopt. So I do tend to adopt other people's personalities, which aspects that stand out to me. Yes. And that was on my mind to come back and just put this in. That's right. And I'm very glad that I'm doing it because it was on my mind, and I'm like, I should just go back and film this now because it's on my mind to do. Otherwise I'll keep thinking about it. And I don't want to keep thinking about it. So I don't have to now. There could be more on the subject later. For now, I'm fairly content, satisfied with what I have attempted to convey, and I'll say good afternoon. Grati poet. Grati poet. Good afternoon. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So I didn't breathe in that at all. Didn't breathe, and I was extremely nervous. I was very, very nervous, and once that I had pressed unrecord, once I'd stopped recording at the end of it, I was like, and I breathed again. I breathed. I think it took me a long time to breathe on camera. It took me a long time to. No, it took me about. I think it took me about 10 goes to get used to being in front of the camera. About 10 goes. Didn't happen straight away. About 10 goes. Yes. So that was it, and that was what I had to say. And so I'm now presenting this. So I am going to put it up. Midnight Charlie Man. And also, that I think that I am certain that there's other people out there that can probably relate to what I was speaking about in that speaking about a couple of years ago, and I haven't changed my mind about it. I was influenced by how I can be, and was greatly influenced by if people had very strong personality traits, and if I was to hang out with them for a while, and some of that would rub off on me, I would tend to mimic it in a sense, not in a large sense. Hello, this is a slice in just after I've gone upstairs. I'm just watching the footage back. No, and this is going to be a slice in. No, not to a little extent at all. To a large. I'm playing it down. I'm playing it down now because it's the video because the. I felt very confronted about making that video at the time, and I have already explained it in that video back a couple of years ago. Someone with a strong personality, whatnot, and they had certain traits within that. I would be. Influence is the word that I could use, but mimic it. Mimic it. Do that. Yeah. And I suppose I suppose to an extent, if one of their traits, then could possibly, could possibly see that. You could possibly do that. And I suppose one of those particular things to do that. And there was the TAFE 2014 film school. I haven't actually spoken about this yet, but 2014 film school TAFE, and had a teacher, particular teacher, David King. Very good teacher, by the way. Really good teacher. Is his name David King? Yeah, I think his name was David King. Great teacher. He had a particular walk, a very particular walk, and had a very particular, determined, focused, particular walk. And when I left TAFE, after I left TAFE, and a few months later, when I was, if I was walking somewhere, well, from going from A to B sometimes, I would do his walk, and I was like, oh, I'm doing his walk. I would find that I was doing his walk, in a very particular walk, and it's like, I'll just, the arms here and just do that, but to do that. So I was playing it down. I didn't do it a little bit. I did it a great deal. I did it a great deal, and to the point where, these things are slightly embarrassing, and I suppose that I'm addressing certain things now in my life. But in 2007, a friend of mine, who I haven't seen for a long time, a friend of mine said, Patrick, perhaps one day you can be totally yourself. You can be totally yourself, and just in the habit of quoting lines from movies. My way of, and I did film these. I filmed this a couple of years ago now, but I never put the videos up. I'd sliced them into different videos that I made. I butchered everything up a great deal, but I would. One of the ways I used to communicate, I've given myself my own anxiety tonight from watching that video back before. For some reason, seeing myself not breathe properly, I've just inadvertently given myself my own anxiety. I would communicate via lines out of movies, and also I would mimic. And a friend of mine said, Patrick, one day you get enough self-love, you'll be able to be yourself. And I said, I look forward to that day. And it was out of social insecurity. So I find it difficult to say certain words, social insecurity. And why is it I've come down here now twice and I've failed to check this particular light? I've come down here twice and I have failed to check this light. And this light is a weird thing because I'm going to... Whoa, sorry about that. I'm supposed to hit the camera there. This light is weird at the top. I'm going to have it on a very particular angle, right? And I can go full blast. I get it on a very particular angle, then it's okay. And when I came down here before, I didn't check it straight away, because I usually check it straight away. So a friend of mine, and well, actually another friend of mine said, Pat, love yourself. Learn to love yourself. Be yourself. And it'll be truly amazing. And yes. Okay. Back to what I was saying. Yeah. And talk that on, or take that on. I attempt to do it to a lesser extent these days. I try to do it to a lesser extent. Attempt to. But yeah, yes. Very good then.